Hey guys, TKC here, the Kaijudo channel, bringing you some of the awesome decks that were at the locals that I went to last weekend. So this is the deck I used. It's pretty much an exact copy of drummerjmm's Light Water Dark Birds and Bottles deck. So you could go ahead and check it out on his channel, so he can give you his explanations for his card choices and stuff. But I guess I'll just show it here, just so you have an easy reference to see what's in the deck. But if you want to get some, opinions on the card choices and stuff like that, definitely go check out drummerjmm's video. I'll put a link in the description, and I already put a link in the description in all the videos I've played in, so go ahead and watch those. I just wanted to point out that instead of 3 Andromedas, since I did not have 3, I decided to just use a Granger, because it's huge. If you bottle it, it's not the worst thing ever, and it's another target for Orion. I mean, I could have put another dragon in, like Dragon of Reflections, but I would have, preferred to have another light target for Orion, I guess, just to make it a little bit more consistent. But yeah, this would definitely be a 3rd Andromeda because it works so well with Bottle, it works so well with Orion. It's just a great card in general. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And all these birds here, 3 of each Light and Water bird and 2 of the Darkness bird. And yeah, so that was the deck I used. Alright, so here we have the first place deck, won by HoodedMan or Joao. His deck was, I believe, 47 cards, but I made it 48 because of a certain modification he did, and I just wanted to show both cards, what card he was using before and what card he was using after. So anyways, let's just dive straight into it. For the bait, for the Enforcers, of course, he got 3 Chasm, 3 Blinder, very typical. However, I'm kind of surprised he didn't use this card right here, Canyon Skimmer. It's excellent bait for the Cobalts and the Halon. And it's so good. You should definitely use this over the Keeper of Clouds for so many reasons. It's another Blinder Beetle, it's another blocker, and it's Enforcer bait for Cobalt, and it's excellent with the Return from Beyond that he's using in the deck. They're already great with the Fumes, the Rusalka, or, the Blinder Beetle for bait, but you could even bring out Canyon Skimmer as well and get another tap effect off of it, and a blocker. So, these two should probably be over the Keeper of Clouds. I understand Keeper of Clouds is really good against like Helo Flame and stuff like that, but yeah, honestly I think this card would have been way better in the deck, but that's just my opinion. And then for the bait, of course, he's got the Halon and 2 Cobalt, and if he used the Canyon Skimmers, he could have even jumped Halon to 2, so you have more consistency of getting both. But anyways, I think that's kind of pushing it a little bit, especially since he has the 2 Crystal Memories, which is kind of enough to search for your Halon randomly. So for the other level 3s, we got 3 Seneschal, 3 Squeaky, very typical. And then for level 4s, we got 2 Keeper of Clouds, which I still think should be Canyon Skimmers, but that's okay. 2 Fumes and 2 Rusalka. These are excellent Return from Beyond targets as well. Fumes is just good because it's +1 discard. Rusalka bounces dragons, bounces tons of things. It's just an overall really good card. So yeah, tons of great Return from Beyond targets in this deck. Blinder Beetle, Fumes, Rusalka, and potentially Canyon Skimmer, or even bait for Cobalt. There's just so many things you could do with Return from Beyond. And then we also got 2 Keeper of Dawn, which is also kind of typical as well. There's tons of spells in the deck to get back with Keeper of Dawn, so it's really good. We already talked about the bait. We got 2 more discard cards here with Razorkinder Puppet. This allows you to look at your opponent's hand, discard a card. So that's why it's kind of a necessity in these control decks now, considering Andromeda is a card, and that's one of the best ways of countering Andromeda, stopping it from ever getting onto the field by just puppeting it. So yeah, Puppet's going to be quite popular in this format, I think. It might even jump up to 3 in some control decks, so yeah, Puppet's really good. Attack Dark Scared Orbital, he still decided to use this. I'm not really fond of this card either. I think this should just be another Cobalt or something. So if you use Canyon Skimmers, you could just go 3 Cobalt, and it would be a lot better than this, I think. But anyway, Dark Scared Orbital's there. And I believe he only had 1 Andromeda in his original build, and he just used the Halon. And then I think after the tournament, he took out the Halon and put the 2nd Andromeda that he got. But yeah, Andromeda's just excellent. It fits so well in this kind of deck. Light, Water, Dark, shield gaining. It's basically Star Lantern of the deck. You don't really have to use Star Lantern if you use this. But, I mean, you could use Star Lantern as well. You could do some sort of combination of Star Lantern and Squeaky, and that works too. But this thing is basically a Cobalt and a Star Lantern in one, so that's why it's really good. And onto the spells, level 3, 3 logo scan, obvious, 2 crystal memory. These kinds of decks are better to have 2 crystal memory because you can search for the bait that you need or the evolution or vice versa, or just basically search your way to win the game. Other decks don't really need to rely on 2 unless they have evolutions like this or some specific combo that they need, so memory is not really needed to be maxed out, but you can if you want. To Return from Beyond, excellent card in this deck, so much synergy with all the come into play level 4s or 3s. So that's really good. The 3 Bone Blades is obvious. 3 Bottle Wishes, this is kind of cute. Bottle Wishes has been just such a hype card this format, and you know I'm kind of victim to it, but not too much. This card is just so much fun. It's really excellent, and even in this deck, it's like if you hit Cobalt, it's like, oh, okay, cool. Now I can play Cobalt on my Blinder Beetle or my Chasm, or you Bottle Wishes into Skull Shatter. Like, oh, okay, I'm gonna have Skull Shatter in a couple of turns if you don't discard it in my hand. And so, you know, there's just so many things you do with Bottle Wishes. You can bring out Andromeda, Rar. In this deck, I think it's not as good as, like, the deck I use in the tournament because, you know, like, every card in the deck I was using is a really good Bottle Wishes target pretty much. And here, it's like, it kind of is and it kind of isn't. So, like, especially if you Bottle Wishes into Stormspark, like, that is not too good too often. The thing with this deck is that there are a lot of, like, spells and stuff, and like usually if you Ball Wishes into a spell that doesn't have a target, it whiffs very often. I know my deck had a lot of spells too, but like the point of Ball Wishes is to use it when you can use it. So if they have targets on the field, then you use Bottle. You probably would never ever want to blind Bottle in a deck like this, because then you could just hit Bone Blades or Terror Pit or Stormspark and just cry. So like the whole point of Bottle is just to protect you randomly from Rush sometimes when they just attack into it, and then it ends up being like duplicate copies of all your removal, or just, you know, bring out a blocker to protect yourself. It's just really good for those situations. But as far as like hard casting it goes, you would probably like almost never hard cast it. You only hard cast it when you can, and when, you know, you just like late game especially, it's really good. It's just like, oh, you have a huge field, I have a huge field, let's make it, you know, not really equal anymore, and Bottle Wishes into Andromeda or Bottle Wishes into anything pretty much. So yeah, that's pretty much why that's in there. And then the 3 Stormspark is just really good protection. I think 3 is a little bit excessive. I think 2 is fine, but I guess, you know, Rush is kind of scary. But even then, like, Stormspark isn't like the best against Rush. It's just like decent. It's good if it's in like one of your last shields, but it's not good at the start. You know, if Blaze Belcher hits a Stormspark, you're gonna kind of cry. Kind of wish it was something else, but anyway. And then of course the 3 Terror Pits and the 1 Skull Shatter, which you could even get back with Keeper of Dawn. So that's the reason why Skull Shatter is only at 1 in this kind of control deck, because you can't really ramp up to it as easily, and you could always get it back with Keeper of Dawn if you want to use it again, and it's searchable by Crystal Memory. So yeah, very typical Cobalt Control deck. The only 2 Dragon Strike cards, actually, no, 5 actually, are the 2 Andromedas or the 3 Bottles. But yeah, Canyon Skimmer is definitely something to be considered in this deck. So anyways, good job, Joao, for first place, and stay tuned for the second place deck list. See you later, guys.